Hey everybody, my name is Alex. This is Alex C. Wilson Wellness. Today we're going to be moving through a yoga practice that's designed to support joy and spark enthusiasm and create a little bit of positive energy because I feel like we could really use that in our lives right now. Now, while we're moving through the practice, you might not feel that joy or that positive energy. It might be a little bit challenging, in fact, and that's okay. But afterwards, as you move through your day, you might start to notice you feel a little bit more positive, a little bit more energetic, a little bit more enthusiastic, a little bit more joyful. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll meet you down on the mat. Okay, so we're going to start lying on the mat with the feet flat on the mat, the knees bent. Arms are going to come down alongside you. We're going to start to move with the breath, moving just the arms to start. So begin by tuning into your breath. Allow your breath to be full, complete. And then with your next inhale, reach the arms up and back. On the exhale, bring the arms all the way down alongside you. See if you can start to match your movements with your breath. So the entire inhale brings the arms up and back. And the entire exhale brings the arms all the way down. Keep going. Awesome. The next time your arms come down alongside you, let them stay there. Bring your heels as close to your glutes as is comfortable. Root down through your feet. We're going to add on. So we'll still reach the arms up and back on the inhale, but we'll add a lifting of the hips. So on the inhale, lift the hips, reach the arms up and back. And then exhale all the way down. And then notice your neck here. See if you can keep your neck from crunching up too much so the chin stays lifted, pulling away from the chest. Awesome. Let's do one more round. Inhale, reach and lift. And then let's pause here. Feet press down into the mat, arms stay reaching overhead. Try to keep your knees pulling towards one another so your thighs are parallel. Keep your hips lifted, bring your arms down alongside you. Let's take the hands together underneath the back, clasp the fingertips, walk the shoulder blades in towards one another, lift up just a little bit higher. Try to keep the knees pulling towards one another. You can come up onto the toes if you'd like. You might find that that's helpful, takes a little pressure off, makes it a little more spacious. And then let's go ahead and release, taking the arms out from under the back, lowering the back all the way down onto the mat. We'll keep the knees bent, space the feet to the edges of the mat, and start to shift your knees from side to side a few times. Beautiful. The next time your knees come off to the right, we're going to let them stay there. Let's take the hands overhead, clasp the fingertips, press the palms towards the back of the room, and then start to lean over towards the right, opening up through the left side body. Then back to center, knees come back. We'll take the knees down in the opposite direction and we'll walk the arms over that direction as well, opening up through the right side body. And then back to center with the arms and the knees. Let's give ourselves a hug, pulling the knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. And then find your way up to a seated position for a moment. So, as we move through the rest of this practice, we're going to work with a breathing technique called Ujjayi breathing. So basically we constrict the throat a little bit so that we can feel the breath moving in the throat, and it creates a little bit of a buzzing. And the way that you do that is, if you imagine you were going to fog a mirror up, you were going to use your breath to fog a mirror, you go, you create that constriction in your throat. So we're going to do that, but we're not going to open the mouth. We're going to do through the nose, breathing in and out. So constrict the throat like you're going to breathe out through the mouth to fog a mirror. So your breath makes sound, you can feel it a little bit here, and you feel your tongue is creating that constriction so that you're able to create that sound, okay? So we're going to use that throughout the rest of our practice. Let's go ahead and move on to hands and knees, and we'll take a few rounds of cat-cow. So wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, and then on the inhale, lift the chest, lift the tailbone, lift the gaze. Exhale, round the back. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. Take a few more rounds, go with your own pace, with your own breath. Beautiful. Next time you round your back, make that the last round. And then we'll come back to our neutral spine tabletop position. And then from here, we're going to make our way into a downward facing dog. We're going to spend a lot of time in downward facing dog in this practice. If at any point in time you decide that your arms or shoulders need a break, you can come to puppy pose instead, which looks like this. The knees rest down on the mat, the hands come forward, and the chest, chin, or forehead lowers down towards the mat. Let's all come into puppy pose for a moment. Press the hands down into the mat. Try to bring the chest down towards the mat. Chin or forehead rests on the mat as well, but the hips stay elevated. So it's kind of like child's pose, but we're keeping the spine long, so it's more of a downward dog with the knees down. Beautiful. Stay here or come into downward facing dog with me, curling the toes under, lifting the hips up and back, and pressing the chest towards the thighs. And if you've made your way into downward facing dog, feel free to pedal the feet a few times, bringing movement and allowing yourself to adjust into the posture. Press down through the hands, root through the fingertips, bend into the knees, press the chest closer to the thighs, lift your hips up a little bit higher. Let's hold here for a few breaths. Find your Ujjayi breathing, so breathing with sound. Good, let's inhale forward into plank. And we'll hold it here, belly button strong, pulling in towards the spine, press down into the hands so that you're tall through the shoulders, and then press your heels towards the back of the room. If you'd like, at any point in time, you can take the knees down onto the mat for support, but otherwise stay here in your plank pose, breathing with sound, Ujjayi breathing. And then stay here or flow through a little vinyasa with me, exhaling to lower down into your chaturanga. Pause at 90 degrees. Inhale, lift up, upward facing dog. Pause here. And then exhale, back to your downward facing dog. On the next inhale, look forward between the hands, and then travel your feet to the top of the mat to come into your standing forward fold. Upper body rests down towards the legs, head hangs heavy. Bend the knees. Maybe shake the head yes and no a few times. Release tension in the neck. Good. Let's inhale, lift halfway, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Reach your arms overhead, lift through the chest, lift the gaze. And then exhale, hands down to heart center. Again, inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands down. Again, inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Hands to the mat, step back to your downward facing dog. Breathe with sound, Ujjayi breathing, constricting your throat. Inhale forward into plank. If you're flowing through with me, exhale, lower down chaturanga. Inhale, lift up halfway, or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then lower your knees down onto the mat, coming to hands and knees. We're going to kickstand the left foot out to the edge of the mat, take the right toes behind you, left hand comes below the face, then spin to the inside edge of the right foot, which is out behind you, to come into a modified side plank. We're going to reach the right fingertips up towards the ceiling and pause here for a moment. Let's add movement. Inhale, reach the right arm forward. Exhale, pull the elbow in, squeeze the shoulder blade. Inhale, reach. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder blade. One more time, inhale, reach. Exhale, squeeze. And then this time, inhale the arm back up. If you'd like, you can lift the gaze towards the fingertips, or keep the gaze forward, or look down towards the mat, but notice your neck. Try to find ease in your neck, so we're not dropping the head down towards the mat, we're strong through the neck. And then from here, we're going to lift up into standing on the knee, and then I'm just going to adjust, move out a little bit more so that my leg can be long. You can just lengthen your leg a little bit further. So we're coming into a gate pose from here. Press down into your left knee, which is resting down on the mat. Press down into your right foot, squeeze your inner thighs towards one another, and then inhale the left fingertips up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, lean over to the right. Inhale back up. Exhale to the right. Inhale up. One more time, exhale to the right. Let's pause here. What's your neck doing here? Is there discomfort in the neck? Or is your neck totally all loosey-goosey and just head hanging down? Can you be strong? Inhale up. Exhale, arm down. And we're going to take the hands down to the mat. And we're going to do the same work on the other side. So I'm just going to turn to face the other side of the mat so that now my right foot's kickstand out towards the edge of the mat. My right hand comes below my face. My left foot is on the mat and my left fingertips reach up towards the ceiling, side plank. Breathing with sound. Inhale, reach the arm forward. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder blade as you pull the elbow in. Keep going. Last time. This time, inhale, arm back up. Pause here. Adjust your head so that your neck is comfortable and strong. And then let's come up. Knee comes underneath the hip, left foot's out to the side. Stand up tall, pressing into the knee, pressing into the foot, squeezing the inner thighs towards one another. And then left hand rests on the thigh, right fingertips reach up. Still breathing with sound, exhale, lean to the left. Inhale up. Exhale to the left. Inhale up. Last time, exhale to the left. We'll pause. Are you struggling to breathe with sound? Can you keep making the effort anyway? And then inhale back up. Exhale. Arm all the way down. Hands come down to the mat. From here, we're going to come into a standing wide-legged forward fold. So I'm going to take both of my feet out to the sides, and I'm going to fold forward down into my standing fold. So my head rests down towards the mat. Maybe shake the head yes and no a few times. Release a little bit of tension in the neck. And then if you'd like, you can keep the hands resting on the mat or grab opposite elbows here if you think that would be helpful or feel nice. Or you could even take the hands together behind the back, squeeze the shoulder blades, and let the knuckles reach forward. From here, we're going to inhale, lift halfway. Maybe you get light on the fingertips. Find strength and length through your spine. Adjust your weight so that you can start to maybe reach the right fingertips forward towards the front, pausing here. And then exhale, lower that hand. Inhale, left fingertips reach forward. Exhale, lower down. This time, let's do both arms reaching forward. Inhale. Exhale down. Try to stay strong through the low back. You can go back to one arm at a time or stay with both arms with me. Inhale, reach the arms forward. Exhale, lower. Inhale, reach. Exhale, lower. Are you still doing your ujjayi breathing with sound? This time we're going to pause and hold. Strong through the low back, belly button pulling towards the spine. Inhale up. Exhale, arms down. Beautiful. Let's turn the toes out towards the corners of the mat and come into a goddess pose. So the toes point towards the top corners of each corner of the long edge of the mat in front of you, and then bend into your knees, sink your hips down nice and low, not sending the hips back, not coming forward. We're trying to stay upright here. Belly button pulls towards the spine. Let's squeeze the shoulder blades, cactus the arms, lift through the chest. And then we'll add a little bit of movement here. Inhale, reach the arms up. Keep your knees bent. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades in. Making sound, ujjayi breathing. more time, inhale, reach. Exhale, squeeze, cactus the arms. Let's pause and hold it here. Beautiful. Soften the arms down, one hand to each thigh. We're going to adjust into a back and forth, moving in and out of side plank. So let's turn the back toes so that the toes turn towards the long edge of the mat and the leg lengthens, and then really bend into that front knee. We're going to take the toes forward. Inhale, reach the arm forward. Exhale, take the arm down. Again, inhale forward. Exhale, arm down. One more time, inhale forward. Pause here. So the right elbow is resting onto the right thigh. We're not pressing our weight into the thigh though. We're strong here. It's just for a little bit of support. What's your neck doing? Beautiful. Let's come up through a brief warrior two. Readjust back into your goddess pose. Legs are shaking a little bit, maybe burning. That's okay, we're strong. Now let's adjust for that side angle pose on the other side. So my toes turn to point towards the long edge of the mat. My other toes turn towards the short edge of the mat. My left elbow comes down onto my left thigh, and my back fingertips reach forward on the inhale, back on the exhale. Again. Last round, this time we'll keep reaching forward. Exhale, warrior two. Back to goddess. And then inhale. Lengthen the legs, reach the arms up. Exhale back down into your wide-legged forward fold. Beautiful. Let's walk the hands back to the front of the mat, turning the toes forward. We're going to step back to downward facing dog, and let's come into downward facing dog for several breaths, using your Ujjayi breathing. Beautiful. Let's inhale to look forward, and then exhale, travel the feet to the top of the mat, standing forward fold. Bend the knees. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. Reach the arms, lift the chest, lift the gaze, arch the back, and then exhale the hands down to heart center. Let's step back with the left foot to set up for warrior one, so the heel comes onto the mat and the left toes point towards the top left-hand corner of the mat. Bend into your right knee faces forward, right toes face forward. Space your feet wide enough so that your hips easily face forward towards the front of the mat, not opening up towards the side, okay? And then from here, reach the arms up towards the ceiling, and we're gonna pause and hold warrior one for several rounds of breath. Belly button pulls towards the spine. Feet press down, inner thighs hug in. Sound in your breath with your Ujjayi breathing. exhale the arms down, step forward, mountain pose. Let's take a couple breaths here. And then the right foot steps back for warrior one on the other side. Left knee and toes face forward. Right toes turn towards the top right hand corner of the mat. Hips face forward, shoulders face forward. Arms reach up towards the ceiling. Strong. Breathe with sound. And then exhale, lower the arms, step forward, mountain pose. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Hands to the mat, step back to plank pose. Pause here, strong. And then lower your knees to the mat and find your way all the way down onto your belly so you're lying flat on the mat on your belly. Hands stay alongside the chest with your fingertips just below your shoulders. And then without pressing into your hands, press the tops of the feet into the mat, lift the chest away from the mat, up as high as you can. Squeeze the shoulder blades in, find your breath. And then back to downward facing dog. Hips lift up towards the ceiling, chest presses towards the thighs. Let's take a few breaths here. And then lower your knees down onto the mat. Take a seat back onto the heels. From here, we're going to move into the peak of our practice. We're coming into a camel pose. And when we come into camel pose, a couple of things I want you to really pay attention to. What is your neck doing? We never want to let the head just completely flop back. We want the neck to be engaged so that we support the head and we protect ourselves from closing up the little entryway to our brain for our brainstem, because that could cause all kinds of problems. So stay strong through the neck. My favorite way to come into this posture is to start from sitting on the heels, curl the toes under so that the heels are lifted. Now, alternatively, you could use some blocks here as well, one on either side of the foot, just to help elevate the hands for a little bit more height so that your camel pose is not as deep. And that might be helpful. If you have blocks, you can grab those and use them. But I'm going to take my hands to my heels. I'm going to engage through my core, belly button pulls towards the spine. And then I'm going to start to lift my hips and press my hips forward towards my knees. Belly button stays strong towards the spine, neck stays engaged. And then find Ujjayi breathing. I'm going to lift up onto my fingertips to give myself a little bit more space. And then exhale, start to bring the hips back down towards the heels. Lengthen the spine and come back down into your seated position. And let's take a few breaths here. We're going to come back to another downward facing dog. So hands come back to the top of the mat, back to hands and knees. Curl the toes, lift the hips up, press the chest towards the thighs, pull the belly button towards the spine. See if you can flatten the curve out of the low back as much as you can. Really trying to lengthen the spine here. And then knees back down onto the mat. Let's go ahead and come into a seated position with the feet out in front. We'll do a little bit of boat pose to strengthen through the core and refortify the low back after our back bending. So hands come behind the hamstrings, lift through the chest, lengthen the spine. And then you can stay right here. This is perfect. Keep the belly button pulling in, or start to tip back until you find balance. Let the legs come, calves parallel to the mat. Keep the belly button strong, pulling in towards the spine. Keep the chest lifted. You can keep the hands on the hamstrings for support, or float the arms alongside. You can keep the knees bent or lengthen the legs any amount. Keep your chest lifted, keep your spine long, breathe. And then let the knees come down. Let's give ourselves a little hug. Lengthen through the spine as you squeeze the knees in towards the body. And feel free to turn off your ujjayi breathing now and let your breath come back to normal. We're going to come to a simple seated position, take a couple simple seated twists. So I'm going to walk, actually we're going to take the hands down alongside the body. Let's inhale, reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Pause here. Soften the shoulders down. Inhale. And then exhale, twist to the right. So the left hand will come to the right knee, the right hand will come behind you on the mat or onto your sacrum. Using the core to create this twist. Try to sit up tall. Let your breath be smooth and easy here. Notice, as you turn off your ujjayi breathing, there's almost a sense of like an internal buzzing happening in your body. The vibration of the breath has left behind sensation. Maybe you notice that. Inhale, arms reach. Pause, exhale, soften the shoulders away from the ears. And then exhale, twist to the left, right hand to the left knee, left hand behind you on the mat. One more time, inhale, reach. Exhale, soften the shoulders. One more inhale. And then exhale the arms all the way down. And from here we'll come down onto the mat, lying flat on the back. When you get there, give your knees a hug into your chest, give yourself a little squeeze. Maybe you want to rock from side to side a few times to massage the low back.
And then let's reach the feet up towards the ceiling and pause here for a moment. You can grab hold behind the hamstrings if you'd like. Bend the knees back into the chest, arms come out to a T shape. Let's bring the knees over to the left for a little twist. And then if you'd like, you can let your gaze move over to the right if it's comfortable in the neck. Have you managed to fully turn off your ujjayi breathing, or do you still feel like you almost want to keep doing that, like you want to keep breathing that way? And can you do your best to soften your breath, soften your throat so that you breathe smoothly? Bring the knees back to center and then let them come all the way down to the right. You can let your gaze move off to the left if it's comfortable in the neck. And then one more time, bring the knees to center. Give yourself one last little squeeze, one last little hug. And then we'll make our way into Shavasana. So if you have tension in the low back, you can keep the knees bent with the feet spaced out wide and the knees resting in towards one another. If it's comfortable, I encourage you to lengthen the legs long onto the mat. Let the arms come out alongside you. Take up space. If you have a blanket or a pillow nearby that you'd like to use underneath your head for support, feel free. Allow your body to be heavy. The ground beneath you is here for support. And as you lean into that support, your body settles into this place of ease. The muscles soften. Tension is released. As your body settles into this place of ease, start to tune into your breath. And get a sense that each inhale nourishes your body, giving you exactly what you need in this moment. And at the same time, each exhale cleanses your body, allowing you to release everything that you don't need. And then bring your awareness to the point between your eyebrows at the center of your forehead. And just be aware at this point between the eyebrows. And see if you can be aware of your breath at the same time. Bring your awareness down to the point at the center of your throat. Allow your throat to be soft and relaxed. And then awareness moves into the tips of your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists, and the tips of all your fingers. And then take a moment, be aware of your fingertips and your breath at the same time. And then back to your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders, the center of your throat. And then move your awareness down to the point at the center of your chest. Rest here for a moment and be aware of your breath at the same time. Awareness moves down to the point right above your navel, the base of your rib cage. And then down to the point below your navel, right above your hips. Awareness moves to the hip tips, to the knees, the ankles, the toes. Then be aware of your breath and the tips of your toes at the same time. And then awareness comes back to the ankles, the knees, the hips, and the point below your navel. And shift your awareness to the back side of your body, behind the point below your navel, your sacrum. See if you can slowly trace your awareness up the length of your spine, very slowly. Moving all the way up the length of your spine at your own pace until you get to the top of the back of your neck. And once you do reach the top of the back of your neck, let your awareness shift back to the point between your eyebrows at the front side of the body. And be aware of your breath and the point between your eyebrows at the same time. And then become aware of all of these points in your body at the same time. And at the same time, be aware of your breath. See if you can get a sense that your whole body breathes together as one. So that for the next few moments, as you rest, your body breathes. And then slowly begin to deepen your breath. And invite little movements back to your body by wiggling your fingers and your toes. Rolling your ankles and your wrists. Gradually beginning to invite more and more movement back to your body in any way that might feel nice for you. Any way that you might like. And then when you're ready, find your way up to a seated position on the mat. Keeping your eyes closed if that's comfortable, or fixing them softly at a focal point. Sit up tall. And just tune in to how you feel in this moment, right now. Maybe you feel a sense of inner joy or an inner energy emanating from within. Maybe you feel a sense of aliveness. Maybe you just feel at peace with yourself. Whatever you notice, hold on to that and bring it with you as you move through the rest of your day. Gather hands at heart center for a moment of gratitude. May we always be grateful for every moment of joy, peace, beauty, and bliss that we have access to in this life. And I will give thanks for each of you. Thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste. If you enjoyed this practice, please consider liking it or sharing it with a friend, and maybe even subscribe to my channel for updates on new classes as they become available. Thanks so much again for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you next time right here on the yoga mat.